I have a quick question to start things off. Is it true or not true that you created Hamilton to be able to sign an exclusive contract with Disney?
No, I did not. I don't think anything in Hamilton and my performance in Hamilton prepares you for childlike wonder or innocence in any form. Hamilton's a bastard who cheats on his wife and gets shot in a duel. What's funny is that Moana sort of came along around the same time, and at a certain point I was playing Hamilton and writing Moana, and those are pretty good opposing muscle groups. To have Moana sort of saving the world while I was getting shot nightly was a nice sort of yin and yang.
Well, I mean, because I was thinking about it, I'm like, you had that, you have this, you're doing Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I'm like, so do you work with anyone else, or is it just Disney now?
No, I've got lots of fingers and lots of different pies. But what's sort of crazy about Disney is that my interest in musicals really sort of exploded when Sebastian started singing to Ariel, saying, "The human world, it's a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything we've got up there." Something about that moment sort of changed my chemical makeup, and I think that's pretty much the reason I started writing musicals.
Well, it's funny, I wanted to ask this at the end, but I'm just going to ask it now. What does it mean to you loving that material and actually writing original songs for that movie? Like, that's crazy.
Well, we'll see if it happens. I'm signed on to Little Mermaid in a fan capacity. I'm a producer, but basically it's like, if it doesn't need a new song, I won't write it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm working with Alan Menken. If we find a moment that calls for a new song, I will write lyrics for him. But, no one thinks that score is more perfect than I do. So I might be too reverent. I might talk myself out of a job.
Right? One of the things that I found, they always say in movies, don't work with animals, don't work with kids. But the kids in this movie are phenomenal.
They're really great.
And so what is it like working with, because one of the kids hadn't really ever worked before.
Yeah.
Can you sort of talk about sharing the screen with them?
Yeah, and I'll give you an Easter egg too, because you guys love that stuff at Collider. Watch Joel, who's the youngest one. In the music hall scene, there's a scene where they're all holding cotton candy. Well, Joel doesn't know you're not supposed to eat the cotton candy between every take. So he basically had a thing of cotton candy for every take of that. And when they introduce Mary Poppins, he is out of his mind high on sugar. He literally is making faces that no child has ever made. It's pretty great. And frankly, they were our touchstones, because this movie is all about sort of revisiting that inner child, seeing life through the eyes of a child. And we had 3 kids who were going through it. So that's all my character research right there, is watching these kids go through this experience.
My last thing, Emily called Rob the silent assassin, because he'll come up and I guess like you're nervous to do something, but he'll just whisper it to you and say, you're going to be great. Yeah. Can you sort of talk about that?
Sure. I mean, Rob is sort of, he basically makes you feel like you can do anything, and then you force yourself to, because you're like, Rob believes I can do this. It is such a simple and generous way of directing, but he really, you really feel like, oh my gosh, this whole thing depends on me. And if Rob Marshall believes I can do it, then maybe I can.
Sure.
It's the opposite of the like isolate and tear down and build back up again that some directors belong to. It's all love and generosity, and you just want to give him everything because you trust him with it.